Hello, it's Jayar, and thank you for tuning in to the Jayar Show podcast. And I've got a treat for you on this episode. I've interviewed him maybe more than anybody I've ever interviewed. And he's written some huge songs. My guest for this episode, Mike Weaver, Big Daddy Weave. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome. I think I've interviewed you longer than almost you and Matthew West and Toby Mac.
Since the dawn of time.
Since Christian radio began.
Totally.
There was Mike Weaver, there was me. And here we are, still here.
So good.
Big Daddy Mike Weaver, my guest, and it is great to have you. Thank you for taking a moment.
Dude, it's always good to see you, man. I really look forward to these little chats that we have. It's
yes, yearly, sort of yearly.
Yeah.
I'm like a relative of yours that you see at Christmas, and we just...
It is. It's kind of a reunion, dude.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's true.
Awesome. We get the JR Cup.
Yep, the Jayar Show mug.
We sit at the table. It's good.
And just have a chat in front of a million people.
I love it.
Just like everybody's doing right now.
I love it.
Let's, first of all, loving the song, Let It Begin.
Man, thanks.
Just has been, we're going to talk about that a little later, but it's just been, it's made us sound good over the past few months. So,
oh, man.
We're going to do something very weird to kick this off. You
all
know,
right.
when you come to an interview here, the creative brain is rolling. We've put all the questions for you for this interview inside a huge golden tube of mystery known as a bouncy castle, sort of. And so we're going to fire that up right here. And
oh my gosh,
we're going to give you
happen.
We're going to give you 30 seconds to basically grab your questions out of the air.
All right.
There's also cash in there.
Really?
There's fake cash. There's real cash. There's just some glorious Publix coupons.
At this. What I want to know is anybody with the nickname Big Daddy going to make it in and back out of the Golden Castle, like without getting stuck in some way?
Oh yeah, it gets just hold on,
dude. That's amazing. This is a legit thing that's coming up in here. I mean, you could basically Airbnb this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's incredible. Comes with the fake cash, the real cash, and the questions that are left over from every other artist that have all been in there.
Let's not forget Publix coupons, but yeah, we can fit your whole band in there.
And what I want to know is, like, are there any other artist questions in there that I could get out and try to answer for them?
They are generic.
That are left from, so this is for
everybody. I've got your questions on my laptop, but there's also a tarantula in there.
And a tarantula.
No.
By the way, did I tell you I'm not doing this? That's like a thing. I'm allergic and deathly afraid of tarantulas and any other arachnid that may be in.
I think we're all allergic to tarantulas.
I think that's right. It's the hairy factor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like spider is bad enough, but hairy spider is even more worrisome, you know?
Yeah. You think a tarantula loses its hair as it gets older like us?
I don't know. That's definitely happened. I definitely am. If they don't, I'm not a tarantula.
Look at my hairline, bro.
I'm telling you. You still got a lot going on there. Still got a lot there. It's like,
well, thank you. We do have a camera in there, Mike.
Okay.
So it's going to capture... we can't grab things off the floor. They have to be grabbed in the air.
In the air?
Yeah. And don't get too excited. The 50s and the 100s are fake.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do this.
We're mic'd up so that when we walk over, we're getting the signal here. Okay.
This is incredible.
We're ready to go. So are you nervous about it?
I am. I'm not going to lie to you. Just to be truthful, there is an element of worry.
Okay. All right. Let's put our winnings on the table here.
It was not very much. I was not ambitious. I just sort of like got a few.
But we did pull a couple of your questions out.
Oh, that's good. Do you see, there was not a lot of effort going on my part. I was sort of like, if this doesn't come to me, I don't think I'm getting so involved.
I think the secret is kicking it, because
that was kicking it up.
It
really, it turned into a veritable tornado of like, dude, look at this, dude. $7.99 Power Crunch protein energy bar.
Only the best, Mike, when you come in.
In times like these,
you can
coupon could save the day. That's the difference of like whether I'm getting this or not. You know what I mean?
What's crazy is it's free when you walk in the door there at Publix, but nobody reaches for them anymore. I walked in and I actually grabbed a stack, and I felt guilty like I was stealing, but I'm like, they're free. I just took all of them.
Dude, that is just all of them.
Yeah.
All right.
The guy that was bagging groceries looked at me, and he saw me walk out with a stack, and I just felt like, oh, somebody's gonna chase me. Is how I felt. They're free. You said they're free.
Dude, look at this. All
right. Let's one of the questions you pulled. Let's read this, Mike. If I spent a week in 1850, how would I be received by the people of that time? Dude. Just a week. Picture Back to the Future. Marty goes back to the Old West. It doesn't have to be Old West, but like if you went back technology-wise, you as you are right now, and you're like walking around by yourself for a week, and people are like, this dude is not from here. He's from the future.
Definitely. That's actually what I get said about me, like, here. Not that he's from the future. Like, this guy may be from 1850 or something, is what people think about me when I'm actually here in America right now.
Oh,
actually.
Wow. Okay, so this is a real thing you've thought about.
This is a real thing. So it's like, but I don't know. I never really thought about going back to 1850. And I didn't know. So is that all the way back to like,
that's Abraham Lincoln.
Like Little House on the Prairie like times?
Yeah, but you can be in a town. Say you're walking around town. You know things now because of phones and airplanes that they don't know about. But like, let's say you're just mingling. You're at a cafe and people are like, hey, man, what's your deal? You're dressed funny.
At that moment is when I would have wished I had really paid attention to history more closely. Because then I could have been like the all-knowing, like I could have set myself up like some kind of Wizard of Oz or something, you know, and then like just been telling people things that are coming and be spot on every single time. Yeah. You'd be like the Nostradamus or whatever of that time or whatever.
I can see him gathering around you going, okay, tell us, what's this thing you can call somebody whenever you want? Yeah. And you're like, yeah.
And they're like, you're nuts. They're like, you're nuts.
They're like, how's it work? And you're like,
that is not happening.
Whoa, waves go up to a thing?
Well, yeah, in 1850, did they already have Alexander Graham Bell or whatever? Had that already happened? I don't know if that's when that happened.
I think I'm with you.
Can somebody Google that? Is that like something that somebody could know? Like,
and they're like, what's Google, Mike?
Dude, and like, what if so if you pulled out your cell phone, you'd try to show them, but it wouldn't really.
You'd have no service.
Yeah, but at least you could like take pictures of them, and then you could. Yeah. Maybe you could have like at least for a couple hours, you could have like a job as some kind of like futuristic photographer or something. You know, you could take pictures and impress people with them, and then your phone runs out of juice, and then you're out.
You're just a guy
until the DeLorean comes back, and you get to go back to.
Yeah. Why am I now picturing there's a chance they burn you by the end of?
Dude, that would be a lot of smoke, dude. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's big daddies do not burn quietly. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, we make a lot of noise and there's a lot of smoke. It's rough.
I'm picturing you as a Christmas tree first week of January. I'm just saying you can go from being a who is this guy to burn him real quick.
That could, because they're thinking like, I don't know if witches come in this size or not, but it's like, but there's like, it's like really everything gets to be a witch that you don't understand.
You don't picture guys like us. People don't think about that.
But
enough.
Maybe that's the total concealment of your witchiness is that you're hiding like this. You know, what I
did not think this interview with you would go there. To Salem, Mass that quick.
Sorry, man. That's all I got. I just give you the real. That's all I got.
I love it. Your brother Jay has been a part of the band from the beginning, and you guys lost Jay recently, about 3 years ago.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Just past that anniversary, man. Yep.
Yeah. I'm more and more convinced that our audience of 1 million people are going through more hard times than we realize. I think sometimes we think, oh, you're Christians. Trust in God. Life is good. Yeah, you're trusting, but life is hard. We were promised that.
Yeah. In this life, you will have trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I've gone through some stuff at home over the past couple of years. Sure. My producer, Cotton, her mom, and medical. Like, we got stuff in our building that I hope people know, the audience knows, that we've got the same troubles inside the radio station as they have. So with you, losing not only a member of the band, but the member of your family, what have you done over the past few years just to deal with, as time gets further away from it?
Yes.
What has that experience been like since losing Jay? And then we'll go into talking about Let It Begin.
Sure. I think that for me, we're part of a society that wants to exempt ourselves from pain. Dude, if there's a pill to numb it or whatever, we want out, and I think that that's not how grief works though. The longer you put that off and you don't embrace the pain, it just kind of sits out there, and it just gets worse and it gets weirder, and it messes you up until you're willing to deal with it. You know, and the thing is about grief too, is it's different for every single person, because it's different per the situation, because it's not always about losing somebody. It's like you're talking about, sometimes it's just rough things that we go through, you know, weird situations. But the truth is that, you know, when you accept that you're unique in it, and the process of grief is going to be unique for you. First of all, that's a load off. That's the thing that helped me more than anything else, was realizing that I don't have to do this like somebody else, right. You know? And the other thing was to really just get to a place where you say, I'm ready to embrace what that pain is. Right. You know, and the pain is not, you know, it may seem inconvenient to us. That's what it was to me. I just want to get back to normal. I just want to get back to normal. It's never going to be normal again, because they're gone, you know, for now. Yeah. I mean, until we get there one day, right? We're looking forward to that one day, you know. But man, in the midst of it, to embrace the pain and let Jesus embrace us as we're embracing the pain, you know. And I wish I could tell you that just means that, well, then it just gets all better. It really doesn't. This is 3 years, and Jay was my best friend, you know, and in my heart that he still is, you know. And to me, it doesn't hurt any less now. But the difference is on day, you know, however many weeks, you know, I was literally falling apart like all the time, you know. But since in the last year, especially over this last year, really just embracing that hurt and just realizing that it doesn't have to look some specific way, but I can walk through this and that pain, knowing that Jesus is not giving up on me, knowing that Jesus is not like faulting me or thinking I'm less spiritual, because it does hurt. Yeah. Realizing that Jesus himself is a man that Scripture says was acquainted with grief, a man of sorrows is what it calls him, right? He faced terrible things. He was walked through awful things in people's lives, right, with them. Yeah. He knows about grief. He knows about sorrow. He knows about suffering more than anybody, right?
I feel, and I've said this for a couple of years now, I feel like God has I'm not an author, I can barely read, but I feel like there's a book that God keeps pressing on my heart to write, focusing on a few people in Scripture, because when we read about the trauma of these heroes of Scripture, we gloss over what happened to them because they move on so quickly. Like if you just read through Job, you'll be very surprised to know all these things are happening on the same day. Yeah. One of those things would floor us, send many people to not want to live. It would send the rest of them to therapy. You'd be traumatized for life, just one of those things. But they are all happening on that same day. But it moves on so quick, like he's not a real person that felt. Yeah. And so I think as Christians, we don't allow ourselves to go, oh, man, that hurt.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, because I know that's what I was really guilty of at first, because I just want to immediately super spiritualize it. Yeah. You know, and it was like I almost felt like guilty in a way for hurting. And I don't know where I get that. I don't get that from Scripture, you know, because Jesus is acquainted with grief, and that he's the friend that sticks closer than a brother, you know, through the stuff that we go through in this life, you know. And so, man, the worst thing you can do is just try to, you know, pretend like it's not real, or just try to over spiritualize it. It's really just prolonging the inevitable. I mean, I do think though that, man, we do grieve in a way that the Scripture says we grieve, but not like those without hope. Right. You know, we do have hope in the Lord. And man, I don't know what I would do if I didn't know that I was going to see him again someday. You know, I mean, that would be a terrible thing. The other kind of stuff that we go through in this, man, so many listeners, man, who have dealt with, and I know because I grew up on the Gulf Coast, we lost everything in a hurricane 20 years ago. It's like so many families still dealing with the aftermath of hurricane and the grief that comes with like having your life altered like instantly, all of that kind of stuff. But realizing that like this is not the end definitely gives a different scope for the whole thing, you know?
Matt Maher came to you with a song that has been a huge song for us. Can you just talk to us about that? Him coming to you and Let It Begin.
What a hero of a, you know, Christian artist, first of all, best. Right? Yeah. I love all his songs, man. I just love how he carries himself, and I've really looked up to him for a while, man. And we had been writing songs for this record that's really just kind of about to come out. It's going to kind of this year progressively come out. And so many of those songs had come from this place of grief. And at one point, we're sitting And we had like an entire list of songs that we were gonna write, you know? And it's like to kind of, because we're things that we're seeing, things that we're growing in, things that we're learning in the process. Yeah. One of them was a song called Let Healing Begin, right? Is the song that we wanted to write. Yeah. And Matt Maher, back in pandemic, had written this song called Let It Begin. Yeah. And it literally, in this time when we're going through the process, but we're really even struggling to get out what is in there, he calls me and says, man, I just can't stop thinking about this song and you know, when I revisit this song that we wrote a few years ago, and he's like, it's one that I kind of had on the list to do or whatever, but he's like, I keep thinking about you. We'd done a Christmas thing together right after Jay had passed. And we did this version of I'll Be Home for Christmas, but we're thinking about home as heaven and like all this stuff. And it was this special moment that we shared, and it kind of marked both of us in a way. And he goes, man, ever since then, I've been thinking about this song for you. Yeah. And it's Let It Begin. And literally just says everything that was in our heart, but in a way more eloquent way than I think we could have ever said it, you know. On tour, when we were out on the road, and I'm sharing about Jay, and I'm sharing about these grief moments, and I literally had to sort of plan a place every night to like fall apart, because it would happen. Look, I'm going to have to give myself a minute here. Yeah, right. And I would have to take that every night until one night I didn't. Yeah. And it wasn't because there was no more pain, and it wasn't because I was all well, but man, there had been this progress, you know? And dude, in 20 plus years of being in Big Daddy Weave and ministering on the road and seeing Jesus move night after night, I've seen God heal people instantly before. Yeah. But usually, you know, it's a process, right? You know, it's like God's a God who thought of oak tree, and it comes from an acorn. It takes 20 years to turn into this oak tree. Now, God's the same God who could snap his fingers and make an oak tree out of nothing, right? Yeah. There's something about God that is into the process. He's into the process, you know? Good. And he wants to walk with us, and he wants us to walk with him. He doesn't just want results. Man, he wants a relationship, right? And so for these things that we've been through, it's like that night when I didn't have to fall apart like I had planned on, you know, I knew there was progress. That's good. That we're getting a little ways in the journey. We're not all the way there yet, which is none of us. We're never all going to be all the way there until we get to heaven, right? None of us in any of it, right? But it's like, but we can take steps every single day, and knowing that the Lord is like walking hand in hand with us, and he's not giving up on us when we do terrible at it, you know? But it's the process, and that's what healing is a process. And this song was kind of became that Matt gave us, was this raise your glass moment to like, hey, to everybody in the room, what are we all dealing with? What are we all in process with? And like, man, let the healing of God, the process of healing, begin in our lives as we walk it out, man. Yeah.
Let's I have to interviews with you, Mike. It makes me work. First of all, we've been sitting across from each other for almost 20 years now, from Nashville to Florida, but I have to go. You're one of my am I the interviewee, or
you're the interviewer?
You're the E.
And that makes me the interviewee. Yeah,
I drop that line every interview.
That's a dad joke. That's like it only gets worse. Yeah. See this gray is only a signal. Before long, we're going to be granddaddy weave. You know what I mean? It's like.
So I like to go, because you can go real deep, and I love it. And you say these great things God's gifted you in that, but then you also can play. So, you and I always end up talking about food, so I want to exploit it.
Always, dude. Come on now.
Last year, I introduced you to the sweet tart rope. How was the progress of that?
Dude, as a man trying to deal with diabetes, that was not a good introduction. Dude, they are delicious. And it's amazing, though, because now I have people that I don't even know sometimes bringing me sweet tart ropes to the show. They're like, we saw that thing. We could tell you really liked that big guy. You know, and so it was like, it was amazing. So what do you got? What do you got this time, dude?
Could I be like indicted for like to give a guy sweet tart ropes? Like, is that manslaughter what I did to you? I don't know.
Well, you didn't come back and try to like deal them to me. You know, it's like you're like, well, the first one's free. The first sweet tart rope is free.
I
right?
got you hooked. Yeah. And every time I see you, like, you out?
He's hooked like a big daddy in a candy store. It's like
2024. What was the item that was if you could go, 2024 was the year that I found, not sweet tart roast, but Like it was I fell in love with for me, it was the Reuben. I'd never eaten really a Reuben sandwich my whole life, and last year
always been there, but you just discovered it, yeah.
And we were meant for each other.
Yeah, what is that? What is that? You know what I think actually, and I don't know if us using brands gets us in trouble here or whatever.
As long as we're not giving the price of the item.
Okay, that's good. Okay, we're not giving the price of it. It's but man, Torchy's Tacos, it was the fried avocado taco.
Ooh,
dude. It not only so okay. Look, there's some things in in the nutrition land that are good for you.
Avocado.
There are some things that are good to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that's good to you, and it affects you because when you have a bite, there's some people who can eat things because they're hungry, and as soon as they're done, that's it. For me, food has always been another kind of experience. This fried avocado taco touched the inside of my soul, bro. You know what I'm saying? It was so good to me, man. There's lots of other good stuff on Torchy's menu, but it was like for some reason, and I think it's because my wife is not really a meat eater, and so we went in at some point and I had this, and I dude, it blessed me, and it was this vegetarian thing or whatever, but then I knew it was going to bless her also, and that was like the double blessing.
Yeah, you hit her love language, like
heck yeah.
Yeah,
it was good,
man. I'm the same as you. Like normal people can enjoying a bit of food is like you had a great date.
Yeah.
But I need to go say, let's go for a walk too. And then, hey, do you want to go see a movie? And it's 2 a.m. and we're still together.
Yeah.
And it should have ended when the meal. Like we made a night of it.
Absolutely.
All right,
delicious.
Let's go with this is kind of my with all the interviews this winter and spring. It's kind of my rotating question I asked everybody because just something that has been inside of you spiritually that has been, oh man, this is a season where I can tell this is being worked. Something's happening here, and I've never written a song about it. And I can see that one day something is stirring now that could lead to a song.
Dude, that's such a good thing. You know what's wild though? I don't know that I have that at the top of my brain, but what that question brings up in me is just remembering the things that we do know, because we're sharing about how it's this process of walking with God and walking it out. And I think that stuff that we learned even a long time ago, when you're in a new place in your life, it has a brand new meaning. So we're on tour, and it was amazing how the Lord sort of set this up. Young lady named Megan Woods, man, amazing. This song, The Truth, just blown up. Just, it's so good. And it strikes me, man, in that place that deals with identity, Another young man, dude, amazing guy, man. I'm telling you, just had this moment of revival with him, man. Ben Fuller, dude, an amazing guy, man. That dude is on fire. Yeah. And in this moment of me, man, walking through, you just sort of feel like you had your guts kicked out when you lose people, And I was just in that spot. But when I met Ben Fuller and I literally just saw his love for God, and I saw his fire for God. Like it was like Jesus just rekindled something in my heart. It was just remembering the times from years ago, man, of me and Jay ministering together and seeing the Lord just move and all these things. And it just brought it all back. And somehow it was just like in a moment of just hugging a dude. It was like literally fresh again, man. And the Lord put all three of us together. Yeah. All three of us have these songs about identity. Yeah. That's one of the things I've struggled with after Jay going to be with Jesus is like when my family is not with me in a way, it's like, who am I? Ben even has a song called that, right? Yeah. And it's like, but I mean, and to go back and to hear these new songs from these amazing artists, see the freshness on them, and just to be reminded of those times, and it literally rekindles something in me, and to go back and revisit a song like Redeemed that we sing every single night. But if you're not careful, it can sort of lose the power of what it is, And it's like, man, that the Lord is, we are not just the awful things that have happened to us, and we're not defined by, the rough moments in this life. Mm-hmm. We're defined by the love of God. That's who we are. Who we are is because of what He's done. That's the entire gospel. We couldn't do it, right? Yeah. So He did it, and then we receive what it is that He's done. And then our mission on this planet is to just live from our heart in that place and share with other people that experience that we've had with Jesus, right?
That's awesome.
And so it's so wild because after all this time, coming up on 27 years with Big Daddy Weave, which is so weird.
I have a 21-year-old daughter now, but she was a newborn when I first saw your name on the screen.
Wow.
And so it's like the life that has come and gone, and you're still writing songs that I'm playing. It's like,
dude,
it's a, to God be the glory.
It's just Jesus. Yeah. To God be the glory. Right.
Did you write that?
Totally. I wish again, also, I'm not Irish enough to have written that though. It's yeah.
What is a highlight of this was one of the questions you polled. I do remember you once telling me that your parents worked in a government building, and it's when you discovered the sausage biscuit, I think, was across the street. It's weird how I can't remember. We really do only talk about something to eat. No, it's like we have. Yeah. I didn't even put that together. But I just remember parts of conversations with guests because I have to pay so attention to be able to, so it like tattoos to part of my brain.
Yeah.
Things you've said 15 years ago. The fact that I remember that your parents would take you to work, and that's when you discovered the sausage biscuit or something across the street at an Arby's.
Yes.
But what is, outside of that or food or anything, can you remember growing up one of the first, most amazing parts of your childhood that you will never forget?
That I will never forget? Oh, man.
Not sausage biscuit related.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is weird. And I don't know if I'm making up memories of this, but my dad showed me the original Star Wars when it came out. So, and he said, as a 1-year-old, I stood it was at the drive-in movie theater.
Yeah, same. That was the one I first saw.
He said, I stood on the seat next to him with my hand on his shoulder, 1-year-old, and unflinchingly watched the entire movie. And basically, I've always believed somehow that out there somewhere, Wookiees are really real, actually. You know what I mean? It's like, and that just, that's like, I would like to pose that actually people who have had Bigfoot sightings, really, those are probably something more akin to Chewbacca, that somewhere out there you can hear the whole thing. It's awesome.
Yeah, maybe. That's a great memory, though.
That was a new place. That's a new place to go there. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love that because I have that same memory, not standing holding my dad's shoulder, but certain things from your childhood.
Yes.
Why did that stick? Why did that stick?
Yes.
And for me being at the drive-thru with my dad, I don't remember the movie much. I just remember there was a playground at the front of the drive-in, and it's so funny that sticks in my mind that we could go on swings and roller, or what are they called? Merry-go-rounds.
Yeah, merry-go-round, yeah.
And then at some point when the movie started, you come back to your car and you're done playing.
That was amazing. That was a genius idea.
Yeah.
That was a genius idea. During pandemic, for a little while, it was like this revival of that because none of us could play indoors or whatever. So it's like we started doing these shows at drive-in movie theaters and reliving that entire thing. It was awesome. It was awesome.
All right, everybody get ready for new music coming throughout the year from Big Daddy Weave. And
just kind of rolling it out.
Yeah, it is.
Song at a time. It's kind of sharing from this last season of life, It's good.
Everything Matt Maher's feeling, we're gonna bring it to you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
that's perfect. That's so perfect, dude. Yeah. Matt Maher. We couldn't say it any better than Matt Maher. It's like that's.
I just love every night singing about everything going on in his life.
Life right now, man. How we get him to write about all those things in our life? That's amazing. I don't even know how that happens. That's incredible.
That's horrible. Always appreciate you, my friend.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I love it, man, and I love you, man. I'm a big fan of you, and we love having these talks.
I absolutely love this guy. He's one of the most dynamic guys I've ever had a chance to be around, and just love getting to interview him. All right. We do want to let you know that if you hit subscribe, you're alerted when we've got a new episode out. We'd also encourage you to follow along Instagram and Facebook, and appreciate you telling others about the Jayar Show podcast. And don't forget to hit subscribe. Till the next episode, thank you so much for listening. Peace.